that plan will complete you. And God said in verse number 4 that it was not possible for the blood of bulls and goats to take away sin. So it was never the sacrifice of that animal that was to complete or to perfect anything. It was something greater. Something greater was coming, because the bull and the goat could not take away the sins that you've committed against God. Now the question is, how does sin get paid for? How does sin get atoned for? Let's just say, for example, some of us here tonight are married. Others are aspiring to be married. And if you and your wife had a discussion this morning, and let's say it turned into something extremely hurtful, extremely painful. Let's just say it got really ugly, and there was sin involved. And if you come to me and say, listen man, I really messed up, can you go and tell my wife that I'm sorry? Now wait a minute, you want me to do that? Why don't you do it? Well, Pastor, she won't listen to me, but she'll listen to you. So I go up to her and I say, hey, Bill really messed up. He's extremely sorry for what he did. And I want you to go and tell Bill these 3 things. I can't do that. Bill, you've got to go tell your wife. You've got to do that. You're the one who sinned against her. She needs to hear it from you, not from me. I can moderate for you. I can say, all right, everybody, let's put the knives down. But I can't forgive for you. You see, you've got to forgive for yourself. I cannot do that for you. You have to forgive because the offense was to you. The thing about sin in this sacrificial system is that there was sin that we've committed against God, and God is showing us what He wants us to do to pay for the sin that we've committed against Him. In Exodus chapter 32, there were some people who were doing some bad things, and it was not good. Exodus chapter 32, I'm going there. This was just a bad scene. This was no good, my dear friend. They had committed sin. They were running around worshiping a golden calf. They had messed up. It was bad. They were sinning against God. They were disobeying God. So Moses comes down. He sees all of this drunkenness. He sees all of this nakedness. And he says, oh boy, this is not good. God's going to wipe us all out. So in Exodus chapter 32, Moses talks to the people. And here it is in verse number 30. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses said unto the people, Ye have sinned a great sin. And now I will go up unto the Lord, peradventure I shall make an atonement for your sin. And Moses returned unto the Lord and said, Oh, this people have sinned a great sin, and have made them gods of gold. Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written. Now this is interesting, because you Bible readers will remember how that the Apostle Paul actually said in Romans chapter 9, he said, God, make me accursed for my countrymen. He was communicating how much his heart was broken. He was communicating how much his heart hurt for these people. It was the same idea with Moses. He was saying, God, is there some means by which these people can be forgiven? That's what he's saying. Now, let's see God's response. And the Lord said unto Moses, Whosoever hath sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. So Moses, it's not going to happen. Sin is personal. So what do we do with this issue of sin? How can we resolve this? That's an important question. How can it be resolved? Well, in Luke chapter 5, there's a story of a man who is paralyzed, and his friends are like, we've got to get him to Jesus. We've got to get this man to Jesus. If we can get him to Jesus, we know that he can be healed. And so, by faith, they carry this man to the Lord Jesus Christ in Luke chapter 5. And here's the point of the whole story. When the man came into the house, Did he sin against Jesus? Well, he was paralyzed. He couldn't. It's not like he could get up and throw a punch or anything like that. And why would Jesus have the authority to forgive sins? Here's the point. Jesus comes to him as God and he says, I forgive you because I have the authority as God to forgive you. When you did sin, you sinned against me. Now, of course, the Pharisees were about to rightly deduce, well, he's claiming to be God. Here's Jesus, he's claiming to be God.